I am at Hunter today to talk about some things that happened in the spring 2019 semester. It has to do with an ongoing pattern that I've noticed at Hunter College, in which the school seems to be moving towards privatizing the areas of the school that would traditionally be for students and for student uses. So, for example, during the Met Gala event this year, Hunter College either rented or gave access to the college gym to Gucci, the designer label, in order for them to throw a star-studded party at our school. That is pretty problematic when you consider that on top of paying tuition, college students at Hunter have to also pay rent to the school in order to use the campus for extracurricular activities. That is a big reason why Hunter is considered a commuter school, in which students typically come in, especially from other boroughs. No one can really afford to live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, but we come into the city to get our education, and instead of hanging out and making friends and valuable connections for our careers, we just leave at the end of class. This is compounded by the fact that our school doesn't have a lot of spaces for students to hang out, and even in places like the library or the cafeteria, all of the seats will be taken up on any given day of the semester, and it's very hard to find a place to just hang out because it's so crowded at our school. And so when valuable spaces are being taken away from students and given to private third-party companies such as Gucci for a night, or in a more serious case, now Starbucks is coming into Hunter College. And so when this happens at a public institution, a student like myself who loves Hunter College, who is so grateful for the education that I have received here, I have to ask questions, because it's just part of this neoliberal corporatization that should not happen at a public institution that is being paid for by student tuition as well as New York State dollars. If you're curious about this Starbucks deal that I have just mentioned, please watch the rest of the video, because I'm going to explain exactly what is about to happen at Hunter College and why I am so opposed to it. So in the middle of the spring 2019 semester, in one of my art classes, I befriended someone who invited me to show a painting at a student-run art show at Hunter. So that exhibition happened in February, called the Pop-Up Art Show, in which many students at the undergraduate level all got together to showcase their own work and the work of their peers in the Hunter College main lobby. I didn't know what to expect when I submitted my painting. I was just excited that something like this was happening. I have been at Hunter for many years. This has been the first time that as a student, I was approached by another student in order to do some really cool activity that involved showcasing art, which is my major and my career intention and passion, and also come together in a positive way. And so when I went, I was honestly blown away. It was an amazing event. There were so many people that had come out to show support. The energy in the space was so positive. So I immediately wanted to get more involved. I signed up to watch the gallery space on a Saturday, and it was so cool because the entire thing was just run by students. So we all got together, put down our availability, and students volunteered their time to go and watch the gallery. So it was totally self-organized, and it worked out so well. And I think it's because there was so much interest in the space. That's when I found out that there had been a show prior to the pop-up art show. The first show was the Alternative Photography Show that was put together by the Photographers Collective at Hunter. It came out amazing. I do remember stopping by one evening after I had finished classes to check it out because some of my friends had work in the show. And so the second show was the pop-up art show. And that's the one that I showed a painting at. And that's when my involvement in this project started to advance. This is where I learned about the petition that my peers had created that had to do with the space. So this petition was actually a really important component to the pop-up art show because it turns out that Hunter College was not supporting the student effort to create a gallery in the lobby space, and in fact were opposing it. The petition that my peers had created was addressed to Hunter College. Students were requesting the Hunter College lobby designated as a space for students to create programming that showcases the talent and the amazing skill set that students are cultivating within the educational environment here at Hunter College. So for us art students, it meant showcasing our paintings and sculptures. The only reason that students were able to even go and have the pop-up art show in February was because there was a third party involved that was actually more supportive of student efforts than our own administration. That lobby space had originally been the campus bookstore, but when the bookstore moved across the street and was no longer part of the main Hunter College campus, that space was emptied and put on the market for rent. In the past year or so, a company based in Brooklyn called The Canvas had been renting the space in order to create cool events about sustainability and fashion. They connected with some of the students at Hunter, and a relationship formed there that allowed us access to the space. After this art show in February, we wanted to keep going and have more shows. It was this whole mix of people that just saw the value in the space and wanted to create something uplifting and positive that would improve the image of the school, establish a level of prestige for the undergraduate students, especially because in the art department at Hunter College, at the undergraduate level, students don't have opportunities to showcase their artwork, period. There is no space given to us or designated for us to have public art shows. So we decided to start our own gallery, and we wanted to keep going with this. And that's what the petition was for. And so around this time in February, after the pop-up art show, we contacted Bruce Payne, the provost of art, requesting a meeting to inform the school of the student interest in the space in order to create a relationship with Hunter College, because up until that point, we had only been communicating with The Canvas, who was the third party involved because they were renting the space from the school. That email to Bruce Payne was ignored. We never received a response back. And we decided, okay, we'll just be very chill and low-key because we don't want to rock the boat either. And so this is when I started to get way more involved in organizing another show. After the second show, we tried to have a third show in April. This was going to be the second pop-up art show, titled Pop-Up Squared. So we started organizing it in March, and then we wanted to have the opening in April. A crew of myself and some other friends teamed up to curate the show, select the artwork, create posters, and promote the event. I stayed at school till 3 o'clock in the morning one night with my colleague, and we put up these giant signs to promote the art show. Within 24 hours of us putting those signs up, it was brought to our attention that our school was very upset with us for doing this, and specifically a gentleman named Darius Solomon, who is the Director of Business Development and Contracts at Hunter College. He pulled the plug on the entire show, and we had to take our signs down. So that was pretty discouraging. I think when that happened and the school canceled the show, a lot of students that had been super excited about this opportunity, they started to back away from the vision. And to be honest, that makes a lot of sense to me. Ultimately, we come to school to get our degrees because we're trying to find better opportunities in our careers and in our lives. And for many students at this school, Hunter College is the only option for economic mobility. Many students come from low-income backgrounds and as well as immigrant families that put a lot of pressure on young people at the school. There is definitely a mentality here of just getting it done, doing whatever it takes, dealing with the abuses of power and the exploitation, because at the end of the day, Hunter College is a tool for us to get out of poverty. And that is really what is at stake here for a lot of students. I think people started to get a little worried that the school was going to retaliate against students for trying to create art shows at Hunter College. When the school, through its actions, is telling its students that our voices do not matter, that our initiatives are not going to be celebrated, then students, of course, are going to back away from that, because ultimately we don't want to do anything that is in conflict with our school. We're trying to work with the school in order to create a better sense of community for the benefit of the Hunter College community. That effort was now not just being ignored, but being looked upon in a negative way. And a lot of students, myself included, we don't want to do anything that is against Hunter College. We love Hunter and we want to continue to improve the school and use this great opportunity to fill in spaces in our curriculum where there is a deficit. So with the gallery space, we were able to work on our professional development as artists, learning through real life experience how to curate a show, how to work together, how to install an art show all by ourselves. And so the reason that the school gave us for canceling the show was because there was allegedly an issue with insurance and liability. So honestly, I don't really understand what the concern is. I'm trying to explain it, and now that I think about it more, I don't really understand what they meant. But basically, the reason why we couldn't have the show, according to Hunter, is because there was a conflict of insurance between the insurance that the Canvas had in order to protect the space and the insurance that Hunter College has in order to protect students. This, to me, was a very strange excuse that the school gave us in order to justify canceling the art show. Because, first of all, if the Canvas has insurance and Hunter College has insurance, if there was an accident, which didn't even happen, there was no accident, nothing bad happened, I guess in the hypothetical sense, if there was an accident, if both Hunter and the Canvas have insurance, then that means we are covered by somebody, right? So it just seemed so strange that this was the reason. So if someone can make sense of this for me and tell me what the school really meant by that, I would love some clarity. They were very concerned that it was not a school-sponsored event, but it was being run by students, which is very funny to me because we wanted their support and we were appealing to the school for an endorsement of our project. We actually invited administration to come. We invited campus security to come to the shows. What we are doing is ultimately a good thing for everybody involved. And so it's funny to me that they were saying at this moment that because it wasn't sponsored by the school, which was their choice not to sponsor it, we wanted them to sponsor it, that we couldn't have the show. Oh. So also, this whole claim about insurance being an issue and liability being a concern also seems very strange to me, because when students came into the gallery space, we as students saw the potential. But I will say that the gallery space was not necessarily safe. Downstairs, there was a part of the building that was in serious disrepair. There was exposed wires coming from the ceiling and this weird, horrible smelling, noxious, corroded, toxic leakage coming from the exposed ceiling, and it was accumulating in this giant trash bag. It was clear to us that there had been serious neglect over many, many months in order for the space to have gotten as bad as it was when students started to get involved. That is not the responsibility of the Canvas, who is renting from Hunter College. Hunter College was being a bad landlord by not taking care of these issues. This was structural damage to the school that the administration willfully neglected and ignored. And to me, that seemed like a way greater risk of liability than students hanging some paintings on the wall. That neglect is not an isolated incident either. There is damage to Hunter College across every single building in the main campus. It is not an exaggeration that the school is falling apart. Administration is not communicating with the students about the reasons why this is happening and also why it's not being fixed. So this is part of a big overarching theme that I have noticed, in which the school is making a lot of decisions, some of them major decisions, about how financial resources are administered, and students are not involved in the decision-making process. And not only that, we're not informed or aware of what the school's goals and ideas are, or what justifications they are telling themselves in order to make neglect and exploitation okay. So even though the show was canceled, we still wanted to make the most of the space because we still had access. We just couldn't do anything overtly public with the gallery. So what we did instead was install a student's artwork in the downstairs area of the gallery in order to give our friend Nino a proper installation space for her work that she had created while she was a student at our school. She made this incredible installation that was too big for the end of the year show that they give the BFA students. Now, mind you, I know I just said undergraduate students don't have an opportunity to show their work. That is correct. The BFA program is a special fifth-year program that you have to apply for, and it's very selective to get in. So the few students that actually make it to the BFA, those are the only students at the undergraduate level that get a show at the end of the year. But the gallery space for this show is far too small for so many of the students' work, especially students that are very ambitious and want to make work that is larger than life, either through sculpture or installation. Nino was one of these very ambitious, driven students, and she had worked so hard throughout her year in the fifth-year program to create something that ultimately was not able to be displayed in its proper format. So we wanted to come in and properly install Nino's work the way that she intended for it to be seen. We were so inspired when it was all done We just started dancing in the space and we felt energized. It's the happiest I think I had been in the entire semester, honestly. It's only because the gallery was available to us that we were able to do this. If not, this whole thing would have never happened. Nino, for example, shows perfectly what students are so capable of achieving and how our school is failing to meet up to the potential of its own students. We feel limited by the amenities that Hunter College is offering to us. We see an opportunity to engage with the school and offer something new and exciting that makes Hunter College an even more incredible school. We knew as students that if we wanted to have these art shows, we could not count on the school to support us. So we ended up having a final show once the semester had ended. My amazing group of friends at school took the initiative to clean up the space downstairs. We got everything together and we had the show once classes had already finished. And overall, I am so proud of all of the hard work that we put into making this happen. Not only did we have an art show that ran for an entire week, we also had a couple events, including an opening event, as well as an event on performance art. Even though there was no guarantees that this was going to lead to anything further with the space, we were so stressed out and worried that at any second, our school was going to tell the canvas, because they weren't even talking to us directly, that we could not have the show, and then we would have to cancel it again. It was truly a miracle that Hunter did not cancel this show. The contract that the canvas had with Hunter was about to end on May 31st. So what is next for the gallery? That is the big question that is lingering in my mind. And so once the lease was up on the space, students had to vacate the gallery. I'll be honest with you, things are rough right now. It is the summer, so everything's kind of died down. We don't have access to the space anymore. Back to Starbucks now, because I know I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, and you might be wondering, okay, what does that have to do with anything? There is at least 3 Starbucks coffee shops within walking distance from Hunter College, but that doesn't seem to matter to administration nor to Starbucks either. So they are going to take this beautiful gallery space and make it into a coffee shop. The reason why I know this is happening is not because anyone told me. I believe in the core of my heart that it was God who put me in the right place at the right time, because I was coming down the escalators at school and I had noticed that the gate to the gallery was open. And so I went in very quickly just to see why the gate was open. I thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the apparatus that opened and closed the gate was broken. But no, I met a woman who was in the space taking measurements. And so I started to ask some questions. I feel like it's within my purview to ask about things that I observe happening at my school. And so she was the one that told me that the space was being rented by Starbucks. She was taking measurements because she worked for the design firm that was going to build it. I felt like I was like in a horror movie when I heard this. And when I turned around like this and I looked down at the table, and all laid out on the table were the blueprints for the space with the Starbucks logo in the corner of every single paper. And I think she saw how panicked I was. I was trying to keep it cool and not blow my cover, but I asked her, do you know when Starbucks is coming? Do you know who is involved with this deal? Who is facilitating this on behalf of Hunter? And she told me at that point that she couldn't answer any more questions. I asked her who she worked for. She told me she would not answer that question. And then I took out my phone to start taking pictures, and then she told me to leave. And these 2 men in suits came into the space and they closed the gate in my face. And that was it. So that's how I know. That's how I found out. And it has also been confirmed by another student who was gallery sitting the space in our last show, Summer Assembly. She told me that someone else had come and taken measurements of the windows and had told her that they worked for Starbucks. The next step for me is to push for transparency with the school. What I want to see moving forward is Hunter College organize a town hall style meeting in which students can meet with administration and become informed on all of the details about this plan. And that includes information on when Starbucks is coming, if the Starbucks is going to be open to the public, and therefore we will have to share our campus with people that are just walking on the street and have nothing to do with the school, and now we're going to take up even more space in our already overcrowded college. So is it open to the public, or will it be only for Hunter students, which I would say is a better idea. If we have to have a Starbucks, let it be just for the students, please. But anyway, so that's another question. The third thing that I want to know is, how long is the contract between Hunter College and Starbucks? Is this a 5-year contract, a 10-year contract, a 100-year contract? We don't know. That also is a very important factor. And then finally, I think the most important thing is, how much money is Hunter College actually receiving from this plan, and where is that money going? Who is directly benefiting from the money that is being exchanged between Starbucks and Hunter College? So these are all questions that I need answers to in order to feel comfortable being a student here. And I would like to see the school engage the students on this issue in a positive way that shows that students are being respected and that our voices are taken into consideration. This deal affects us and also fundamentally changes the optics of our school. And then also, there should be an opportunity for students to vocalize concerns about privatization in public schools. I would like to see administration address the hypocrisy that students sense from just walking about campus, because we feel very neglected by the school and also don't understand how Starbucks is serving our best interests as students. Because the last time I checked, Hunter College was an educational environment, not a playground for real estate developers. And students don't know how these deals are actually benefiting them, if at all. So what is the overall impact of this? I really want to know. And then from there, students will be able to make an informed decision as to whether or not they're in support of Starbucks or not. I can tell you right now, personally, I am against this deal. I think the gallery that students started in the spring 2019 semester at Hunter College is an incredible contribution to the legacy of this school. I would like to see a plan that incorporates student interests and allows all of us, not just the art students, but also the music department, the science department, the dance department, anyone who wants to use the space as a student or faculty or even alumni. They should have the opportunity to showcase the talent that is coming out of Hunter College. This school could be so much better if it just listened to its students, instead of pushing forward an agenda that is looking to capitalize and maximize profits. And I don't think it's too much to ask Hunter College to not put a Starbucks in the lobby of the school when students have a better idea. So I really tried my best to explain this as well as I can, but please let me know if you have any questions, if something isn't clear. I have made the decision to investigate what is happening at Hunter to the best of my ability. Regardless of the consequences, I am fully aware that Hunter could retaliate against me for doing this, but I need to feel good about the degree that I am earning from this school. And I will tell you right now, I am not the perfect student. I don't get straight A's, but I still see the value in this education that I'm receiving. And I need to speak out against things that to me feel like injustices and feel like exploitation of student resources. That being said, if you would like to show support, please sign our petition. You don't have to be a student at Hunter College in order to sign. That information will be linked in the description. Also, check out my website. I will be updating my journey as I find out more information on what is happening at Hunter throughout the summer and also the fall semester. I am a heavy proponent of structural change at this institution, but the only reason why I care so much about this issue is because a model of transparency is not only possible, but it's the right thing to do. That's why I'm making these videos. It's really just to have a documentation about what is happening and what it really feels like as a student to witness all of these changes that are happening at a school that I believed when I came in here was going to help me as best as it could move forward with my goals, because that's what I'm paying for ultimately to go here. I am looking for greater opportunities for my life and for my family. And the second that I see Hunter is doing things that undermine this objective, I immediately am going to be concerned, and I hope you are as well. So if you would like to stay involved, please visit my website, please sign our petition, and I will keep you updated moving forward on whatever happens. So right now we're gonna go walk across the street and go check out the gallery space. And I'm gonna show you the space, what it looks like from the outside, and also check it out to see if there's any construction or any activity so far, because like I said, we don't know when Starbucks is coming. I'm honestly haunted by this at night. Like, it keeps me up late at night because I don't know when this is starting, if I'm gonna miss my chance at showing the school that they're making a mistake. But ultimately, if it is to the benefit of the students to have a Starbucks here, please, I would love to understand why and how. But the first step has to be communication. It is a Friday afternoon and it's the middle of summer. So usually this entire area is full of students hanging out in between classes. That in there is all lobby. So if you can see, it still says the Canvas because the Canvas have been renting the space, but they're not there anymore. Let's try the doors. And of course, it's locked now. We can't get in. That's the escalator and it leads straight into the gate. That is one of the entrances of the gallery space from the Hunter main lobby. And then the other entrance is right here, these doors. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any activity, and there hasn't been throughout the summer.
Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates.